everyone, this is Metal Kid Doc, and welcome back to another Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Sky video. In the last episode, we became a Pokemon, met Emma here, and now we're apprenticing at the guild. And, well, I left it off at an awkward time because there was a save point right a few dialogue trees away. I thought it was just going to cut to the next morning, but nope. They took account for the fact that you will be probably be like, this is just a good open, or just leave it as is. But anyway, let's give it our all tomorrow. Okay, Doc, sleep tight. And don't let the big bug types bite, I suppose. Anyway. Now that I'm suddenly apprenticing at the guild, I gotta admit, it's pretty exciting to be in an exploration team. And it's fun to be friends with Emma. But first things first. Who am I? How did I turn into a Pokemon? How did I end up unconscious on that beach? I'm feeling sleepy too. Well, thinking about it won't help right now. I'd better focus on the guild's work for now. If I do that, well, everything should become clear, eventually. I'll surely get to the bottom of this in time. But before we move on to the next morning, well, we're not saving in an LP. Exploration Team Quick Tip. You can save a record of your progress by climbing into your bed from now on. It's like a save point, indeed. So, yep, if you're ever doing anything gameplay related or anything sort of, yeah, this game is pretty lenient on the save, so you're good. Anyway, the next morning.
Hey! Hey there! Rise and shine!
My head is pounding. What a ridiculously loud voice. It almost blasted my eardrums. My big, giant elephant eardrums, that is. Or fancy eardrums.
Why are you still asleep? Wake up!
My poor ears.
Come on, snap out of it! I'm Loudred, and I'm a fellow apprentice. If you're late for our morning briefing, you'll be sorry, so move it! Guildmaster Wigglytuff has got a big temper, and if you make him lose it... Oh, wow, yowie. That'd be one scary scene. I got goosebumps just thinking about it. Yeesh. So anyway, I'm not about to get in trouble because you rookies got up late. So get in gear!
My ears are still ringing. What did he say? Something about getting ready? Oh yeah! We signed up as apprentices at Wigglytuff's guild! That's right! But that means... we overslept! Come on, Doc!
You're late, rookies!
Hush! Your voice is ridiculously loud! Everyone seems to be present. Very well, let us conduct our morning address. Guildmaster, the guild's in full attendance. Thank you, Guildmaster. Please address the crew.
Ever alert. Wigglytuff has trained himself to sleep with his eyes open. Confound it! Get away from him!
Psst. Guildmaster Wigglytuff never ceases to amaze me. Yeah, you got that right. Yep, he looks like he's wide awake. His eyes are wide open, but he's fast asleep. Thank you, sir. We all value your words of wisdom. Okay, Pokemon, take your Guildmaster's words of wisdom to heart. Finally, let's not forget our morning cheers. All together now. A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3. 1, don't shirk work. 2, run away and pay. 3, smiles go for miles. Okay, Pokemon, get to work. Hooray! Hey, you shouldn't just be wandering around here. You two should come here. And let's follow him. This chat out here is gonna show us the ropes. You're just beginners. We'll have to start you off with this assignment. This is the job bulletin board. Pokemon from various regions post job requests here. You're aware that bad Pokemon are corrupting up in greater numbers, right? Yep, because of the flow of time is getting messed up. It's wreaking havoc, right? That's why a lot of bad Pokemon are appearing. The flow of time is getting messed up. Time, as in hours and minutes? Do they mean something has gone wrong with time here? And because of that, more and more bad Pokemon are just popping up? What's going on here? Precisely! Time is getting out of whack, and it has caused an outbreak of bad Pokemon. Perhaps because of all that, we have noticed an increase in the number of jobs. In addition, and it's unknown if this is because of time's influence, there has also been a mass outbreak of mystery dungeons. Mystery dungeons? That's the name of the game. Anyway, so Doc, you know how we got my relic fragment back yesterday? The place we found it was a mystery dungeon. A mystery dungeon changes each time you go in it. So yeah, it's a different layout each time you go into a dungeon. So what you saw like during my gameplay last time was not probably what you experienced. Anyway, a mystery dungeon changes each time you go into it, and there's a different layout and different items every time you enter. And if you faint in the middle of the dungeon, you lose half your money. And you can even lose half your items or more. Finally, if you get kicked right out, you get kicked right out. They're very strange places. But every time you go inside one, there's always new things to discover. They really are fantastic places to go explore. Well, you're quite informed, aren't you? That makes things much easier for me to explain. Jobs all take place in mystery dungeons. So, let's look for a job that you should perform. Oh, yeah, yes, maybe this'll do. Oh, really? Let's read it. Hello, my name is Spoink. An outlaw has run off with my most prized possession, my precious pearl. That pearl is life itself to me. I just can't seem to settle down if that pearl's in its proper place atop my head. But I've heard my pearl's been sighted. It's said to be on a rocky bluff, but this bluff is reported to be extremely unsafe. I could never go somewhere so frightening. Oh, friendly readers, would you please be so kind enough to go to the bluff and get my pearl? I beg your help, please, exploration team members. From Spoink. Wait a second. We're gonna fetch an item that someone dropped. I'd rather go on a bigger adventure than that. I'd rather look for treasure, or explore unknown places, things like that. Hush. It's important that you rookies pay your dues. Now pay attention. I repeat the warnings again to make sure they stick. You'll be forced out of a dungeon and sent back here if either of you faints. You'll lose half your money, and you could lose half your items or more, so you best be careful. If you understood all that, I suggest you get on with the job. No complaining, we're just doing what we need to do to rise up the ranks, I suppose. This must be the bluff's entrance. Spoink's mission description said that the pearl is deep down on B7, on basement 7 floors level. I'm gonna mess up every time I say B7F, but it's not really important to any big dialogue or anything, but I just say B7F or something, or I just say 7F. I don't really say the B part, because it changes. Depends on what type of dungeon you're going into. Anyway, it's supposedly very dangerous, so let's be really careful. Let's do our best, Doc. In we go to Drenched Bluff. This is the second dungeon, and it's still kind of easy. And you see we got like a staircase here, anyway. Yeah, the tutorial text is not as important. I know the ropes. And now we actually have items, or toolbox items, and sure we may have like sure we have a staircase, but in the early game, you want to go seek out items. You want to have enough tools at your disposal. Anyway, this is actually the first dungeon you could probably actually fail if you're not careful enough, but you're not really going to be worrying too much, and I'm getting used to these controls. Anyway. And there is something funny that happens if you fail, or not really funny, it's more like something interesting that happens that the game accounts for if you just suck at this game. But I won't talk about it here because future Doc will have to explain it. And yes, in the last episode, I didn't really make clear how my UI works. I just kind of decided to wing it and see what happened. And, well, I thought of something very cool. I have an editor's corner, which I'm mainly doing for the DS games, because usually I just put, like, the future Doc stuff up in, like during the gameplay segments, just on the side, so you can read it. But since this is a DS game, and I'm using a different UI to record a DS game, I decided to make my own little corner. It's going to be used for boss advice, and I will interject with a Yoshi sound, which is what you're hearing. Yeah, that's the sound effect I'm using for future Doc. I use it for other channels too, or I have a channel I work on where I'm also an editor. But enough about that. So yeah, I basically just have a little corner. I'm gonna have a little corner that will give you kind of information or fun little, I don't know. I may interject with an edit or two just for the heck of it. And oh, an apple, that's gonna be important. So yes, I didn't really explain this well enough because we were in a really short dungeon, but see that down there by my health? That's your belly. You need to keep that up, because eventually you'll you'll starve yourself, and it'll be like poison where it drains your health one step at a time. And you do not want that happening. So make sure you collect things like apples to stay hungry, but not too much. You want to save some room for other items too. And I'm just explaining things. Anyway, yeah, I grew to level 7. I'm kind of a professional at this game, but not really at the same time. I'm not... Oh, and we both grew to level 7, and Emma learned Roar, and usually Roar you would think, oh, Roar's just a terrible move. All it does is just switch your party members around, but no. What it does is essentially it can blow away, or well, it can launch an enemy away from you. And yep, eating apple fills your belly. I explained this to the audience already, game. Anyway. Yeah, this is just the first floor, but I decided to at least look around and see what we can find. And you know what? Yeah, you don't want to stay on a floor for way too long, because if you decide to just grind on floors, eventually you will get thrown out of the dungeon. And yeah, that has a pretty creepy thing that happens if you do that. Like, the wind will start to blow, and an unknown force just approaches. And it changes via dungeon, so, like, I'm in a cave dungeon, so it would be like an earthquake would happen. But if you're, like, in a field, it would be kind of like a wind would blow, and... yeah, it's kind of... I'm just explaining things, but, like I said, first mission, I gotta explain everything, because pretty much, yep, everyone will get HP, stats, level ups, basic Pokemon stuff with level ups. You know how those work. Number go up, you become stronger. That's basically the best way to describe that. Anyway. And of course you learn new moves, like Roar. Let's see. I'm just destroying all the enemies at this point, but eventually we'll see what Roar does. Who knows? There might be a certain fight up ahead that might require me to use that. And yes, that is foreshadowing. I don't know if it's going to be completely helpful or completely useless. It depends on what setup I'm going to be running. Also, I should probably enable... even though it's not going to do not that much damage, I might as well go to my team real quick. And I might as well enable Roar. No, Ember, not Roar. Roar's already enabled because it's a new move. Anyway. Just doing my basic attacks. I'm saving Ancient Power for if we really get surrounded. Or I just don't feel like using it. To earn bonus points, you must use... so yeah, you must at least damage a Pokemon at least to get XP. Ooh, an Oranberry, that's decent. Ooh, hello, a new Pokemon. Chingling. I mean, you're fighting a lot of fossil Pokemon in the early game, which is kind of odd for a Pokemon game, because usually the fossil Pokemon you find, like, you just find them either by... you find them by trainers who, like, specialize in rock types in, like, the mid-game, or you just find it yourself, like, you get, like, a fossil and resurrect it. So it's kind of interesting to see that fossils, or like fossil Pokemon, can be found this early. Oh, and rap is annoying in this game. It's kind of... You're kind of just petrified. It's kind of... It's sort of as annoying as it is in Gen 1, where the game can can basically get you stuck for infinity if the opponent's fast enough. But it's not as bad as like that, but it's still kind of annoying in this game. It's not... In other Pokemon games, it's pretty much just like, whenever an opponent uses it, it like doesn't really bother me, because most of the time I will have something that is, oh, a Oranberry. This is an Oranberry, isn't it? Wait, if you look closer, it's not an A, it's an E. This is an Oranberry. Lookalike item. You should always check your item info and make sure you got the right item and not one of those sneaky lookalikes. So yes, there are fake items. So you do not want to eat an Oranberry. What an Oranberry does is it damages you. So it basically is like an Oranberry, but it damages you. So you lose health. And hey, a grass gummy, that's going to be important. So it's like apples. Apples and gummies are what you need to fill your belly. Which, honestly, if you ate an entire diet based off gummies and apples, you'd probably not be in the best of shape. Sure, the phrase, an apple a day keeps the doctor away may be like it may be a phrase for a reason, but you do not want to eat apples and gummies because it's just sugar. You'll probably get diabetes if you're eating all that. You gotta spice up life. And yep, a Pecha Berry heals poison or badly poisoned, and yep, status berries are alright in this game. I mean, anyway, let's just do some more damage to these Pokemon. I'm also kind of glad ooh, a Geopebble, this is also new. Throw Geopebbles at distant foes. First, set them as your ammo, so it's basically like throwing a projectile in there. They can be pretty helpful, especially if you don't have any moves that are good against enemies. And they can be thrown from a distance. Watch this. See? You can do damage from, like, far away, even though you probably can't do it yourself. And see, it kills enemies too, but it doesn't give you as much experience as fighting does. Anyway, we're almost done with this dungeon. I was about to say dungeon again. I make that joke way too much. Anyway, let's have my partner take care of this Lily, and I'll take care of... Oh, we leveled up again. Wow, we're leveling up quick. Maybe it's because of the EXP boost you get for saying yes to that first question on the personality quiz. And yes, I mentioned that in the last video. You should probably just lie if you haven't played Explorers of Time and Darkness. Or well, it doesn't really change much. All it changes is basically just you get higher experience rate. Pokemon will want to join your team more, which we'll get to way later. And then, of course, some other things too. But it's pretty much... It pretty much doesn't spoil anything for the games if you've already played. If you haven't played the other games. It's basically just a boost, but if you really want to be truthful, I guess go for a challenge. I guess you can just say you haven't played it and deal with the annoyingness of this game. But pretty much it's kind of annoying how you have to. It's not required for you to have actually played it and for the system to go like, oh, you have played this game. But anyway, I'm done ranting. Let's get back on track, and we're done here, I think. Yeah, we are. Here we go. Drench Bluff 7. Oh, over there! This has to be Spoink's Pearl. Quick, let's take it back. Thank you! That pearl must be propped on my head, you see? I missed it so much. And also, how are you alive? Because the Pokedex entries... in the Pokedex entries, it says if you don't have its... If Spoink doesn't have its pearl, essentially, it can't get oxygen or something. Future Doc will probably explain it, but yeah, it's kind of a morbid Pokedex entry, but I guess in this world, you don't really have to worry about it. Since there's no humans, of course. It's still kind of a dick move to take away basically what is essentially a part of your body. And also, sorry for swearing. I'm trying not to swear at all. I've only done it twice, I think. But yeah, essentially, I'm gonna stop talking. Okay. I just couldn't settle down without it up there. So I was just boinging and sproinging everywhere. That's why I'm covered in dings and bumps. But thanks to you, that long nightmare is over. Yeah, my sincere thanks. You get rewarded with a protein, a calcium, and an iron, some medicine, and we received 2,000 Poke. That's a lot of money. Oh wow, 2,000 Poke? We can have all this money? Of course, of course. That's nothing compared to my pearl's value. Farewell. We're rich, Dawson! All of a sudden, we're rich! Well done, team. Now, hand that money over, if you please. Excuse me? Most of the money from jobs goes to the Guildmaster, you see. And your team's share of the money comes out to this much. Huh? We only get to keep 200 Poke! That's not fair! Well, that's the Guild's rule. You simply have to accept it. It's capitalism! It's capitalism! Everyone, thanks for waiting. I finished making dinner! Come on, dinner's on! Yeah! Munch. I'm done eating. Excellent meal. I'm stuffed. Now I'm getting sleepy. Yep, I'm off to bed. Night. Good night, gang. Good night. Say, Doc. Today was pretty hectic with everything that we went through, wasn't it? But I'm glad our first job turned out so well. I was really mad how Wigglytuff's guild took most of the money. That's just the cost of training, I guess. We can't do anything about it. But what really made me happy today, though, was being thanked by Spoink. I'm getting sleepy. I'm going to sleep. Let's try our best again tomorrow. Sleep tight, Doc. And don't let the darn it, I'm already messing up something I'm trying to do constantly. Anyway, don't let the bug types bite. And Chapter 3, The Scream. The next morning. And yes, this episode's going to continue because, well, we've kind of... This was really short. It's only been 22 minutes. Anyway.
Up and at 'em, it's morning!
Good morning, Dawson. Oh, I said my real name. Well, that's awkward. Anyway, yep, my real name's Dawson, but that's alright. It's Doc Dawson. Just call me Doc. I don't know if we're on that kind of first name basis yet. I'm still trying to get to know you. Yeah, I decided to just call it here because we're in the next chapter and we are going to have more kind of like a story-based chapter, so I decided, why not save that for next episode? And yep, this is Metal Kid Doc signing out.